Nobody wins when the family feels.
I got gun in the front seat, gun in the back seat, shot in the fantasy. Why would you tell me you love me? You know that I'm bloody. You know my head from shit. Why would you tell me you trust me? You know that I'm steady. You gotta be careful. I was on Cartier shit, so that's my way.
Yeah, real, bust the window. Brooklyn Day. Bust it! Bust the window! Bust the window! I got a brick! I got a brick in the back seat on the ground. Brick, a brick. I got a brick. I got a brick. We gotta bust the window. We gotta bust this window. They try and bust it. Shut up. Give it to him. No. Is he asleep? I know you asleep.
Man, she got shot. She said I'm bleeding.
Damn. We located one female adult deceased on the scene. 9 additional victims were transported from the location to area hospitals. Additionally, we had 20 other victims walk into hospitals throughout the region. Our detectives are currently working an extensive crime scene. The 2 deceased victims we have are both adults. We have 3 other victims who are in critical condition. Our hearts and prayers are going out to the families, sending out.
It's the weekend right before the 4th of July. It's the summertime now. Everybody outside. And when you have these functions in a quote-unquote hood, you mixing people who could possibly go to other environments, other places, and have a good time with people who possibly don't go nowhere but their neighborhood. It just never turns out good. And this is another example of what we got to discuss today. Within the last 24 hours, 2 people lost their life and 28 people were shot on this extensive weekend on the south side of Baltimore. So in this video, we're going to pay our respects to the victim. Also, talk about the limited information that authorities have released and what we know as of the public. Not to mention, check out what I saw on the Instagram and Facebook and other social media platforms upon doing my research. But first, remember family, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to jump right to it. This is how you get in grit in the court. It's a housing complex, as we mentioned, on the south side of Baltimore. Some people performed. As we mentioned, it was a block party. Over 24 people were shot, leaving 2 deceased. Acting Baltimore Police Commissioner Rich Worley said officers received multiple calls just after 12:30 a.m. for a mass shooting on the 800 block of Grit in the Court, where the block party went underway. Neighbors had told police there were a large gathering in the neighborhood before they heard what sounded like fireworks, which they later learned were gunshots. The detective had told officers they found the 18-year-old woman deceased on the scene. 9 others was taken to the hospital, and as many as 20 others arrived to hospitals across the region on their own. Now, in this less than 24 hours, family, so the victim's identity haven't been released to the public. But upon doing my research on social media, the 18-year-old young lady who lost her life, may she rest in peace and love and condolences to her family, was a young lady that go by the name of Aaliyah. Now, the 20-year-old man who also passed away, I couldn't find his identity as of yet, but may he rest in peace and love and condolences to his family as well. Officers said 3 others are also in critical condition. And just to give you guys a rundown of those hospitalized, shock trauma was treating 12 patients, and 4 patients were being treated at the University of Maryland Medical Center Pediatric Emergency Department. The MedStar Harbor Hospital had treated 19 patients, all suffering varied degree of injuries from gunshot wounds. 9 critical injured patients were stabilized and transferred to Baltimore trauma centers. All but 1 patient has been released. Now I'm gonna play these news clips, family, but I want you guys to watch to the very end, because upon social media, it's been some people before this commotion had went on, have been caught brandishing firearms and automatic weapons out of book bag. That's all floating around on social media that I'm gonna censor, but I'm gonna give you guys a good image. But first, check this out.
2 victims are dead this morning because of this shooting. We just learned their ages moments ago. We learned that one of the victims is an 18-year-old woman. The other one is a 20-year-old man, both dead now because of this shooting. We know 28 more people are hurt because of this shooting. Now, we don't know a whole lot about those victims at this point, but we do know that this all unfolded during a block party here in the Brooklyn neighborhood in South Baltimore. A couple neighbors told me they were having a blast. It was a good time until it ended in tragedy and gunfire. And you can see that this is still a very active scene here this morning. This is 6th Street and Audrey Avenue. This is actually a couple blocks over from where the shooting happened, but the shooting scene really spans blocks at this point as police try to comb through evidence and try to piece together how this all happened. Police say they responded to the 800 block of Gretna Court at 12:30 this morning. They say they found that 18-year-old woman dead on the scene. Medics took 9 more people to the hospital. That's where the 20-year-old man died as well. 20 people walked into hospitals all over the Baltimore area. Again, we know that 2 people are dead this morning and 3 more people are in critical condition fighting for their lives. Police do not have a suspect at this point, and they're asking anyone with any information to please give them a call.
Treat this as if it were your family and how you would want people to treat it if you were mourning, if this was your neighborhood, if this was an event in your community that this happened at. We want you to treat it that way because that's how we have to treat each other as Baltimoreans.
And that was Mayor Brandon Scott at a press conference about an hour ago. Now, police say that they're actively looking through video, trying to figure out who did this and why. We're expecting to get more up.
Acting Commissioner Richard Worley, Mayor Brandon Scott, Chief Administrative Officer Faith Leach. We also have representatives from the Fire Department and the Office of Emergency Management. Aaron, we're good? Aaron, we're good? Okay.
Good morning. Just after 12:30 a.m. this morning, officers received numerous calls for a shooting at 800 Gretna Court. Upon officers' arrival, we located multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. We located 1 female adult deceased on the scene. 9 additional victims were transported from the location to area hospitals. Additionally, we had 20 other victims walk into hospitals throughout the region. Our detectives are currently working an extensive crime scene. The 2 deceased victims we have are both adults. We have 3 other victims who are in critical condition. Our hearts and prayers are going out to the families, sending out to the families and friends of these victims, as well as the community and our entire city. This is an extensive crime scene. Our detectives are going to be here quite a while. If anyone saw anything or knows anything, please call 911 or call local Metro Crime Stoppers, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. We have members of our fire department, Officer Emergency Management, as well as other jurisdictions working with us to try to determine a motive. Again, please call 1-866-7-LOCK-UP, and at this time I'll turn it over to Mayor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. This morning, all of Baltimore is grieving the lives that we lost here, and our hearts are with all those who are still recovering at the result of this mass shooting. As you heard, this investigation is ongoing, and our homicide detectives will continue to work until they find out what happened here. But what we do know this morning, and this was the reckless, cowardly act that happened here and that has permanently altered many lives and cost 2 people their lives. And I want those who are responsible to hear me very clearly. We will not stop until we find you, and we will find you. Until then, I hope with every single breath that you take, that you think about the lives that you took and you think about the lives that you impacted here tonight. We're also asking that anyone that knows anything about what happened here, anything about this mass shooting, to come forward with any piece of information. Treat this as if it were your family and how you would want people to treat it if you were mourning, if this was your neighborhood, if this was an event in your community that this happened at. We want you to treat it that way because that's how we have to treat each other as Baltimoreans. We are mobilizing every resource in my power to embrace this community and support this community through this unspeakable tragedy. Monsi will be conducting a coordinated neighborhood response, and every single city agency will be in Brooklyn to support this community beginning later this morning. I want to again express that this is an absolute tragedy that did not have to happen. It again highlights the impacts and the need to deal with the overproliferation of illegal guns on our streets and the ability for those who should not have them to get their hands on them, and also the need for accountability on each and every level when you're dealing with guns and gun violence. And again, we will not stop until we find those cowards who decided to just shoot dozens of people, causing 2 people to lose their lives. And we're going to be here until we find them, until we hold them accountable, until they are held accountable for the actions that they took, because we cannot rest until they do so. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with the entire community and our entire city.
Now trust me, it was a lot I couldn't show on this video, so I'm gonna just leave the link to the direct source in the description. But check out this person about to brandish an automatic weapon out his book bag.
One of y'all is funkier than others. Hey yo! It smell like one more time.
Now also, it wasn't confirmed, but the guy that you guys saw in the intro, they saying that possibly was the guy who lost his life inside his vehicle. Check it out.
Brooklyn Day. Bust it! Bust the window! Bust the window!
Now out of the respect for the family, we're just gonna stop it there. But family, that was the story of the block party in the south side of Baltimore getting shot up, leaving over 24 people shot, having 2 people deceased, and many more critically injured. Let me know how you guys feel about this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Love and condolences to everyone affected.